I need to read it at some point, otherwise I feel like our friendship is at stake, and so I have it. Jacob could probably give her a few tips. After like last year's suffering, do I really want to put myself through that again? Abso-freaking-lutely. Hey besties, it's Joel, and today I'm going to be going through the books that I want to read this summer season. I hope you're all doing very well and that you've been taking the time to rest and recharge, because I've certainly been doing that, and I think you've noticed since of the lack of uploads for the last 2 weeks. But since finishing my undergraduate degree, it's definitely been quite daunting, and I've just been worn out. I haven't been able to read, I haven't been able to do many things creatively, so I've just been recharging and resting, and it's been very nice to just live and just watch some cool things. I've been starting a new wuxia drama called Word of Honor today, and it's amazing. I'm really enjoying it. It was recommended by my best friend Tia, and I'm just really loving it. But before we get into my summer reading plans, if you have yet to check out my Instagram nor my Twitter, I would highly recommend you go check those out, because I post some extra content that you're not gonna see here. Okay, so this summer I do want to read quite a lot of books, because it's going to bridge the gap between kind of finishing my undergraduate and possibly starting my master's. I know. I said I wasn't going to apply for a master's, and I said that I was basically wanting to take a gap year, but the more that I thought about it, the more that I was like, I can just take this summer to recharge, just work towards my novel and everything else like that. But I definitely feel like doing my master's now would be great, because then afterwards I can take a rest for much longer if I want to, instead of just having that gap year of rest. So I'm just going to pull through for one more year, and then I can rest afterwards, and I think I'll be able to do it. Just hopefully I won't burn out, but I think if I take care of myself and have a good support system, which I already do, I think I'll be fine. We should be great. But I've applied for a master's in English at a university that's actually really close to where I live in Wales, so I'm really excited for that. Hopefully I'll get in. Fingers crossed. I'm just really excited because they do a lot of cool modules there, and there's one on King Arthur which I'm really excited about, which we'll be discussing later on, but also they have one on post-colonial Bronte. As a lot of you know, I'm very passionate about like kind of the white feminism aspect of Jane Eyre, so I'd really like to discuss that further in potential essays, although again, the master's dissertation's like 17 to 18,000 words according to the university that I'm applying to, and I don't want to think about that right now. That's going to be future me's problem if I get into this university. But anyway, talking about summer plans, I have a lot of cool content planned, because I have basically decided to put all my big brain ideas into the summer, because I knew I'd have more time to do them. And the first reading vlog that I'm going to be doing this summer is one that is a series that a lot of you have been wanting me to read for the longest time. Now that they're adapting it for Disney Plus, I thought it's basically around about time that I get through all of the series that I've got up there. I still need to get like the last main series, but I can do that at some point. But we have Percy Jackson and the Olympians by Riordan. I'm sorry that it's taken me so long to read it, but I just can't wait to get into it. Like, it's just so stunning and amazing. I'm going to be starting these next week. I'm also going back to my uni city next week, so it should be quite an interesting reading vlog. But no, I'm really excited to be getting into Percy Jackson, because a lot of you have recommended it to me, and a lot of you have just said that I need to read it, and I know there's like oh my god, Ahis, right. If you haven't subscribed to Ahis, I'll leave his channel down below. He's amazing, and his Instagram content is fire. He uploaded a reel that's like cooked with Ahis, and I'm literally like, his food always looks so good, and so now that he's uploading reels of them, I'm prepared to steal the recipes. So, you know, but yeah, he's a king. I am basically gonna have to like give May and Ahis all of my reactions, because they have basically influenced me to get a kick in the game and then read Percy Jackson. But it doesn't end there, because I'm planning to read one Percy Jackson series a month from June onwards, so I should be done with Trials of Apollo in October. But then I also wanted to read all of like the supplementary stuff. I know, it's gonna be a wild undertaking, but we'll see what happens with that. Like, I think I might be able to do it if I do enjoy the series. The only series that I'm missing is Trials of Apollo, but I should get that at some point. I probably will get that at some point. Someone's gonna need to remind me to get that at some point. So that's the first series that I'm gonna be reading. The rest of the video ideas, video stuff, is gonna remain a secret for now, purely because I wanna surprise y'all. I definitely have some really great videos planned. There's one that like kind of combines my love of literature and like research and degree stuff, a booktube kind of sense, and like I'm really like scared about that one, but I'm I'm also really excited about that one. So we'll see what happens with that. This summer as well, I'm going to be researching my 2 novels that I'm going to be wanting to write this year. One is Wub Wub. I haven't really talked about Wub Wub on YouTube before, so this is quite fun. Wub Wub is Watchers Bend, Watchers Break, which is my paranormal dark academia novel that I'm going to be writing from hopefully like mid-July onwards, once I've like researched all of the things that I need to research and have developed a full plot outline. So for Wub Wub, I do have a list of books on my Notion page that I'm going to be reading for research. I'll list like 3 of them because I don't want to give away a lot of the inspiration for Wub Wub, but we have the Iliad, the Song of Achilles, Hamlet, and Little Women as some of the main inspirations for Wub Wub. But I'm not going to like reveal a lot about Wub Wub yet because I do not want to give everything away, and I think it's very nice that I'm keeping a lot of things secretive about it for now. And the other novel that I'm going to be working on, which is going to be my NaNoWriMo novel, I think this year, is surrounding Welsh mythology and its relationship with Arthurian literature. And so I have 2 books that I'm going to be referencing strongly, but then I have a lot of journal articles that someone on Twitter sent me a few months back, so I'm going to be researching and reading through those as well for some information as well. And so we have Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Mallory. This is like the original like Arthurian compendium, and it just, it's like got gold sprayed edges, and I think this is the Barnes & Noble leatherbound edition. No, I'm wrong. It's the Canterbury Classics leatherbound edition, but it just looks so gorgeous and amazing. I'm really excited to read this, and I kind of want to do a video with this and exploring like the chaoticness of BBC's Merlin and comparing it to Le Morte d'Arthur and see like how much they differ, but also how like the chaos is still the same. And so I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited to read this as well because it seems amazing. It's a big book. It's a big book, but I think I'll be able to pull through and read it. And I definitely think doing like a reading vlog with just this book and like discussing BBC's Merlin in relation to this book would be amazing. The other book that I'll then be reading is The Mabinogion, which is basically like a collection of Welsh legends and Welsh myth. And it's really exciting because it'll just allow me to kind of reconnect with a lot of my Welsh heritage and trying to get inspiration for the potential series on Welsh mythology that I want to be writing. I definitely think The Mabinogion is basically the key text in order to do that. And so I'm really inspired by it, and I definitely have like a few ideas already based on already some of the stuff that I know of Welsh mythology, and I'm really excited to just see what happens with that. But I'm just excited, and I think it's gonna be really awesome and amazing. But now we get into kind of some of the other books that I just want to read for pleasure this summer, not video related, not like book club or readathon related, just books that I'm like, I'm really interested in you and I want to read you. So the first book that I'm going to be reading is one that someone called a millennial staple, but also I feel like has also inspired a lot of vampire fiction that we see today, and that is Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. Now this is like a really old edition that I got from Used Bookstore a few weeks ago actually. I was with, who was I with? I think I was on a date. I just picked this up from the Used Bookstore, and it's amazing, and I really love it. I just love how small it is, and just like it's like a mass market paperback of Interview with the Vampire, and it's just so cool. And basically I want to read Interview with the Vampire because my friend Asia keeps going on about it, and it's basically her entire brand, and so I feel like I need to read it at some point, otherwise I feel like our friendship is at stake. And so I have it. I have the book. I'm really excited to read it because I've watched the film already with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, and the homoerotic tension between the two of them was stunning, and it was amazing. And Kirsten Dunst as Claudia was just an iconic performance, and she's just a brat, and it was great. It was amazing. But I'm really excited to read it. So if you don't know what Interview with the Vampire is about, it basically follows Daniel Malloy, who gets an interview with a vampire called Louis, who was turned by a vampire named Lestat, and Louis basically recounts his life living as a vampire in this interview. And I can't really say anymore because it could be spoilery. A lot of shit does go down, and it's iconic, and it's amazing, and I just can't wait to read it, because judging to see if the film has like, I think the film is kind of similar but also does make some differences towards the book. I think the book will be just as good, and seeing how much Asia rants on about Anne Rice's writing, I think it's just going to be really cool, and I just can't wait. The next book that I'll then be reading this summer is The Taking of Jake Livingston by Ryan Douglas. Now, I'm really excited about this book. I remember when Ryan got his book deal, and immediately I was like, I know I'm going to read this as soon as there's an arc for it. And now look, there's an arc for it, And it is also signed by Ryan, which is really, really, really exciting. Like, Ryan is just such an amazing person and I love them, and I just can't wait to read this because I think it's just gonna be so awesome. Plus, the cover art is just so amazing. It was designed by Corey Brickley and Jessica Jenkins. So Corey Brickley did the art and then Jessica Jenkins pulled it all together, and it's just amazing. I think it's just super stunning. I'm just in the mood for a good thrillery horror book in the summer, and so I think this would be a really great one. This comes out in July, so if you've yet to add it on Goodreads, go and add it on Goodreads because you will probably not want to miss out. And speaking of adding books on Goodreads, if you've yet to add Ace of Spades by Frida Abike Minde, that comes out next week, I believe, so you should definitely get on that because you will not want to miss out on Ace of Spades either. So the taking of Jake Livingston basically follows Jake, who is a medium who gets to see dead people wherever he goes, and between that and tackling the racist teachers at St. Clair Prep, life is pretty much difficult for him. However, it gets much more difficult when the ghost of a school shooter begins to haunt him and begins to start to take over his life slowly but surely. And whilst Jake before could handle the problems of high school, this problem is one that he doesn't think can be solved so easily, and so I'm really excited to read it. I think it's going to be super cool and awesome. I don't know, I'm just really excited for it, and I'm just hoping this gets a lot of hype near its publication because it definitely deserves it. The next book that I'm then going to be reading this summer is The Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji, and it's translated by Ho Ling Wong. This one is inspired by Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. If you remember from way back, we read One by One for the Literary Dead book club, and that was also inspired by And Then There Were None, so I'm really getting on the And Then There Were None kick, which now basically means I need to write And Then There Were None inspired novel. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But I also need to read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie because I keep on like going around it, but I'm not actually reading it, so I guess I should probably add that to my summer TBR as well. But The Decagon House Murders is a piece of Japanese translated fiction, and I definitely want to try and read more translated fiction during the summer. So The Decagon House Murders is basically about the lonely rock-bound island of Tsunojima is notorious as the site of bloody unsolved murders, and basically the K University's mystery club decides to go on a trip there, and they're then surprised when someone turns up dead. I mean, you're going to a murderous island and then you're shocked that someone has turned up dead. Okay. And basically the members of the club are picked out one by one and killed slowly, and if they cannot find who the murderer is, they're all surely going to die. And so I'm really excited to read it. I really love kind of people dying one by one, and this definitely gives like an Among Us kind of feel because I feel like one person in the club is responsible for all the murders in this. So it's definitely going to be interesting, and I wonder why it's called the Decagon House Murders. Like, Decagon, is there 10 members in this club? I don't know. Yeah, it's just really exciting, and I think it's gonna be really cool to read and just experience, and I cannot wait to see what this has to offer. The next book I'm going to be reading is one that I need for like a really cute summer romance, and that is Hani and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating by Diva Jaguar. This one I'm just really excited about because I read The Henna Wars last year and I loved it. I thought it was just so amazing and cute. It was just written so wonderfully, and so I'm really excited to have Hani and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating with me now so that I can just dive into it this summer. And this basically follows Hani Khan, who has it all, is popular, and then she comes out as bisexual and her friends do not believe her. And as someone who is also bisexual and like has had similar experiences with people not believing that I'm bi, I fully relate to this. I mean, one time someone told me I was too feminine to be bisexual. I mean, excuse me, gender expression has nothing to do with representations of sexuality. Someone has backwards thinking. But then we have Issue Day, who has a lot going on, and she wants to be head girl, however it relies on being popular. And so Hani, who is popular, and Issue, who is unpopular but needs popularity. And the solution is to pretend to be dating to help one another out. However, as we know, life can be messy, and so slowly but surely, I'm assuming these girls will fall for each other for real. And so I'm really excited because, like, I just want to get back into a Diva's writing. I just love seeing my friends succeed. I love seeing them thrive. Just holding my friends' books in my hand just gives me such, like, a happy feeling that I just am so proud of them, and I just want to champion their books as much as possible. So I think Hani Nishu's Guide to Fake Dating came out literally this week. If you want to go pick it pick it up because it sounds amazing and I think you'll really enjoy it if you're into like the fake dating stuff. And speaking of romances, there is one romance that I have been dying to read since about March, and that is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert, the last book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. And I think I've been putting it off because it's the last book in the Brown Sisters trilogy. However, Talia Hibbert is writing more romances, so I shouldn't be like too sad, but like the Brown Sisters just hold such a like good place in my heart for being like the first romance series that like I loved and the first romance books that I loved, and so like I just don't want it to end. But I'm really excited to be reading this because Eve is just my favorite sister. Eve is my favorite sister. I've said this since like the first book in the trilogy, and so finally getting to read her romance and her happily ever after is just going to be really great, and I'm just really excited for it. And so Eve Brown is a certified hot mess. No matter how hard she strives to do right, her life just seems to be going further wrong and wrong, which could be down to Murphy's Law, because if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And after a series of unfortunate events her parents draw the line, Eve Brown has to grow up and act her age. And so she decides to try and get a job at a B&B where Jacob Wayne is the manager. And after initially being rejected, Eve kind of accidentally runs him over with her car, and so she decides to help him out whilst he's in recovery, and the two butt heads and the two go head to head with one another. But I think Jacob could probably give her a few tips. I can't do book. Oh my god. You get what I mean. I think Jacob and Eve, if they work together, they'll be able to create a better B&B, but also a great relationship. And so I'm really, really excited to be reading Eve Brown. Everyone that I know that has read it has loved it, and some people have said that Eve Brown is their favourite sister now, and I'm like, yes, join the Eve Brown, like, supremacy group. It's long overdue. I'm gonna read this next. I might take it with me to Winchester to read. I think I'm gonna take it with me to Winchester to read. But yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait. The next book that I'm then going to read is one that is another advanced reader's copy and another book that comes out on the 22nd of July of this year, and that is She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan. Now, this has been compared to the Song of Achilles, like a sapphic Song of Achilles, especially since I'm reading the Song of Achilles next month for the late night book club. My heart is not ready for the Song of Achilles feels in She Who Became the Sun, and already some of my friends who have read this have literally cried. They have mourned, they have suffered, and after like last year's suffering, do I really want to put myself through that again? Abso-freaking-lutely. So I'm really excited to read She Who Became the Sun. This says Mulan meets Song of Achilles in a stunning queer reimagining of the dawn of the Ming Dynasty. So Mulan now meets the Song of Achilles. Could this be my dream novel? Could this be my dream novel? What if one of the most powerful emperors in China started life as a poor second daughter? It is 1345, and in a famine-stricken village in divided China, a seer shows two children their fates. For the son, there's greatness. For the daughter, nothing. And so when a bandit raid wipes out their home, the son falls to despair, but the daughter quickly resolves to ensure that she will rise to greatness. And so she steals her brother's identity and goes on an epic journey. Will Zhu be able to escape her destiny of being nothing, or will she be able to take her brother's destiny and rise to greatness instead and claim it as her own? And so I'm really excited for it because, I don't know, I just feel like it's gonna be so amazing, and everyone who I know has read it has loved it, and I think it's just gonna be so cool. And Shelley Parker Chan on Twitter is just really cool to interact with. Plus, I haven't really read like an epic I don't think I've read like a massive epic fantasy book yet this year, although I could really be forgetting things. I've read a sci-fi because I'm currently reading the Expanse series, but no, I don't think I've read like a massive epic fantasy. I'm gonna have to double check that. This could be like my first proper fantasy book this year, which is strange because usually I'm like an avid fantasy reader, but lately I've just been gravitating towards more like literary, thrillery, horror, and sci-fi books, which is interesting. Maybe I just got burnt out from all the fantasy that I read last year, potentially, but I do want to read more fantasy in like the autumn. Like I do want to try and get to Mistborn at some point. But yeah, that was She Who Became the Sun. The next book that I'm then going to read this summer is one that I actually just picked up in Waterstones because I really like the cover, I really like the sprayed edges, and it was also a Reese Witherspoon book pick. So we have His Only Wife by Peace Adzo Mehdi, and just this cover this cover. The design was by Steve Godwin and the jacket design was by J.A. Maselli, and it's just such a stunning jacket. Like, wow. Kirkus gave it a starred review, and sometimes we can't trust Kirkus, but sometimes we can. A Crazy Rich Asians for West Africa with a healthy splash of feminism, and it sounds interesting. We love to see it. But yeah, I cannot wait to read this. Like, the sprayed edges as well, it's just so cool. So this basically follows a young seamstress in Ghana who's entered into an arranged marriage where the mother of the groom hopes that she will be able to distract him from a woman that she believes is not good for the family. However, as the young seamstress arrives within the bustling city of Accra, she discovers that life isn't as she hoped it would be. She's spent cooking, cleaning, and just waiting around for a man that may not even come home at night. And so, bursting with warmth and humour, His Only Wife is a witty, smart, and moving novel about a brave young woman and her search for independence in a man's world, and the rules she might just have to break along the way. And so I'm really excited by this because it definitely does seem like a really cool, like, feminist novel about reclaiming your power within a loveless marriage. And so it just seems really cool, and definitely something that, like, I don't really reach for that often, but it also does seem really interesting. And as well as I'm always trying to, like, broaden the horizons of my reading tastes, I think that as well that this is apparently a really stunning debut novel, and so I can't wait to read it and just see what it has to offer. And if you've yet to go check this out, check it out because it just seems amazing. It seems really cool. And then finally, I will end things off with a non-fiction book because I'm also trying to read more non-fiction. And so we have Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. This is Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot. And I know Noelle read this last year and really loved it and loved the messages that Hood Feminism gave. And so I'm really interested in reading this as well and just seeing kind of what this book has to offer and how it also relates to White Tears, Brown Scars by Ruby Hamad, because Ruby Hamad also talks about in her book how white feminism betrays women of colour. And so I'm really excited to continue on this journey of, like, looking at the disparities between white feminism and how they affect women of colour, because then if I get into my master's program I can definitely reference both of these books in my arguments with post-colonial Bronte and in Jane Eyre as well. And so I'm really excited to read this and just discover Mickey Kendall's words and what she has to say, and that is everything. I am just really excited to be back on BookTube, hopefully creating content on a more consistent level. I'm going to try and aim to make at least 3 videos a month. I think that is a really good commitment to make. I'm really excited, and I hope you're excited as well for, like, the Percy Jackson video. Also, I have started some freelance work over at Penguin Platform, where I've started a brand new video series called Penguin Explorer, where I'll be doing some deep dives into some interesting topics. And if you've yet to check out the first episode, I'll have it linked in the description down below, where I go over why are we afraid of big books. And it was definitely a really interesting experience to film that, and especially taking the poll from Instagram that we did and just seeing kind of why everyone is so afraid, but also how people can tackle big books as well. And so it was just really awesome and really cool. And so I'd really like you to go check that out and just give it some love. And if you're planning to read any books this summer, let me know in the comment section down below, because I know a lot of you take books from this video and put them straight onto your TBRs, and I would just love to do the same in return from the comment section. If you are planning to read any books, please do let me know, and I will endeavour to add some of them to my TBR. And it's just gonna be really exciting because then we can have, like, a little conversation in the comments. And yeah, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, be sure to click that subscribe button so that you're notified whenever I upload next. If you want to check me out on any other social media platforms, I'll have that linked in the description down below for you so that you can go check me out on a variety of things. I'll also leave my personal Instagram down there as well, because I've been uploading there again, and so I definitely would love you to go give that a follow as well, because I just post some, like, life updates here and there. They're mostly selfies at the moment, but, you know, I've got to appreciate myself every now and again, so it's, like, healthy to do so. So yeah. And so yeah, I guess until the next time, bye besties.